Good afternoon, Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, wherever I'm reaching you at. This is a teaching tool, another one of Brother Herman's sermons inside of MaikumCdeTruthBrand. It's up under the umbrella of a nonprofit organization that we're still designing and putting together. But its sole mission is to help our societies less fortunate, and that's just simply our brothers and sisters, strangers in the streets even, that are still roaming around this earth in search of their true identities and purpose. If you have found your true identity and purpose, God bless you. And if you have not, the content inside of MaikumCdeTruthBrand, Brother Herman's sermons, is designed for you. We've already established 22 series, and today we'll be working on series 23, which we have entitled, It's God's World, We Just Dwell in It. We'll be establishing episode number 5, I believe, today. And we have entitled it Takes a Village to Raise a Child. As you all know, I am a student of psychology as well as spirituality, and I'm blending the two together to bring forth teaching tools to help us cope through life's many hurdles, obstacles, and challenges. If you want to assist us in this ministry, you may do so by everything that you see on the front of this channel. It should be a Cash App there. If it's not, it's $$Make-$See-the-Truth. If you want to just leave a comment, hit that button, the comment button, and let us know how we're doing. Or if you have an issue or some kind of a situation that you need some counsel for or on, go ahead and hit that comment button and let us know. We'll go ahead and reach back out to you. And if I can't help you, I know someone who can. But in the meantime and in between time, we're going to go ahead and launch Series 23, God's World, We Just Dwell in It, episode number 5. It takes a village to raise a child. We're going to begin it like this. The internet is a wonderful tool for various things. Things such as research, learning, communication, and teaching. However, it can also pose great risks to the user, especially children. It therefore becomes a hot debate topic for the parent management of their children, because these debates are often complex due to the factors of freedom of speech, child safety, and parental rights, which are being stripped away from the parent, seems like almost on a yearly basis. Let's face it, no parent wants to be told how to parent or govern their child by any entity, organization, and or government. No parent wants to hear that. But there also is no parent playbook either. So let's keep that in mind. Thus, finding the correct balance for managing their children will require careful consideration of all these factors listed and unlisted. There are arguments for limited intervention. And while I, on one hand, believe that management of harmful internet content ought to be of the parents' control, still in our diverse society, there will be those who either slightly oppose complete parental control, and even those who emphatically oppose it altogether. I wonder who those individuals could be. Probably parentless or childless people. The arguments include carefully targeted interventions with limitations, and onto complete parental control. Filter controls are useful tools for such limitations. Nevertheless, this ought to be implemented by the parent or guardians rather than mandated by governmental agencies. Parents and guardians can tailor filter controls to their values, their principles, their belief systems, which will be surrounded or around their children's maturity levels. So what that means is if we give back the control to the parent instead of placing it into the government's hands. That's what raising takes a village to raise one child means. When I was coming up as a child, if I got into trouble, I would hear it from my teacher, I would hear it from my neighbor, I would then hear it from my parent when my parent arrived at the house. So it takes a village to raise a child. And no one can raise a child by themselves alone. You can try to do so, but to be successful and have a healthy, balanced child that will eventually morph into a capable adult, a citizen of society, you want that child to be raised by as many social circle assistances as possible. And I mean healthy social circle assistances as possible. I don't mean just letting anybody talk to your child or teach your child. That's not what that's about. It is also vital that parents, guardians educate their children themselves rather than the government about online safety issues, which would cause their children to become more aware of the many dangers of online interactions rather than simply relying on government censorships. Schools and libraries ought to play a critical role in the teaching of children on how to identify and avoid online predators. Also, the inappropriate content should be taught by the parent to the child, as well as how to protect the child's identity. They need to learn how to protect their identity, their personal information, as well as their places of dwelling. That is very vital because a lot of children do not know what information to divulge to whom is asking. It could be a perfect stranger that is asking your child some personal information that could lead to their downfall. And I like to go ahead and reflect back to our basic instructions before leaving Earth. This is the book of Proverbs inside of the Holy Bible. And it is the book of wisdom. It was written by the King Solomon, David's son. And he was supposedly the wisest man on the face of the earth until Jesus arrived, obviously. But it says, Proverbs 22 verse 6 says, train up a child in the way he or she should go, teaching him to seek God's wisdom and will for their abilities and talents. Even as he or she gets older, he or she will not depart from it. Now, likewise, in the book of Hosea 4:6, it says, my people perish or are destroyed for lack of knowledge. So if we're not training up the child correctly, if we're not parenting our children correctly, if we're not paying attention to what they're watching, what they're searching, what they're looking through on the internet, on online services, then we have neglected our children. And God says this in the same verse. He says, Hosea 4:6, because you have rejected knowledge, I also reject you as my priests, which means leaders. Because you have ignored the law of your God, his principles, his values, his understanding, I also will ignore your children. You don't want to be found in God's bad side. You don't want to be found in the fiery hands of God. You just don't want to be found there. And anyone who has been found there can attest to what I'm saying. What you want to do is you want to listen to the basic instructions before leaving earth. And if you don't believe in the Bible, listen to the Spirit within you, because the Spirit within you is the Bible. That is the Holy Spirit speaking, especially if it's telling you or instructing you to do something that is correct or right from wrong. If you ignore that, that is the same thing as grieving the Holy Spirit. And there's no good that's going to come out of ever grieving the Holy Spirit, because what that means is you think you can do it on your own. God says, okay, I'm going to let you, and we'll see how things turn out. Open communication between parents, guardians, schools, counselors, and family members is encouraged. So that children feel safe. They feel safe and comfortable enough to discuss any possible online interactions that may be questionable by law. And while almost all believe that protecting children is of utmost importance, all parties concerned must also avoid what? Overreach, such as overly broad censorships in the homes, the schools, and libraries. Such overreach could begin to stifle the rights of parents and the children, like free speech. It can also pose a threat to how much valuable public information may be obtained that is meaningful for growth, development, and success. So we want to be careful how much power we give the government to what? Raise our children. And even ourselves, govern ourselves, because if we give them too much power, we might be allowing too much censorship, which will stifle growth in all of us. We don't want to let that happen, and this is why. Laws that are designed to criminalize the transmission of pornographic materials found online could have unintended adverse consequences, such as legitimate purposes for adults' artistic expressions of themselves, or even limiting access to educational resources searched for by responsible adults, not children. Therefore, all limitations regarding children's welfare for healthy upbringing ought to be tailored specifically to address the issue of protection and or prevention from harmful content to who? To children. By tailoring these needed limitations to the particular problem at hand that we're discussing, fundamental rights and freedoms of adults can be respected and protected. Thus, a win-win resolution for all parties concerned will be achieved. This has been another one of Brother Herman's sermons, a teaching tool inside of MaikumCdeTruthBrand. Brother Herman's Sermons, Series 23, It's God's World. We just dwelt in it, episode number 5. It takes a village to raise a child. That includes you as the parent, whoever your family members that you allow around your child, the school that you allow your child to attend, the libraries that you allow your child to go to, and the social circles that you allow your child to partake within. All of these are what's considered the village that is going to be used by God or the devil to raise your child. Which entity do you want raising your child? Do you want society? Do you want mankind, who is fallible? Do you want the government, which basically doesn't have the best interest of your child at heart and in mind at all times? Yeah, some things that government does is very helpful, but a lot of things go against the control of the parent. And while we're experiencing a lot of children coming up missing, is because of the rights being taken away, the parental rights being taken away from the parents. We have to put a stop to that. And the only way to do that is to speak out. How do you speak out without knowledge? My people perish for lack of knowledge. Remember the book of Hosea, chapter 4:6. We don't want to be perishing or found destroyed because we haven't been educated properly. You're only as good as your teacher. I'll say it 1,000 times. A student is only as good as their teacher. If you're not teaching your child, then who's teaching them? Till next time, when we upload episode number 6 inside of Series 23, It's God's World. We just dwell in it. You take care of yourself and each other. May God continue to bless us all. Thank you.